Okay, we're going to look at the taxes template. Now, one of the things I want to make sure you do in this is make things look good. So all I've added is the filing status, gross income. Now, these are going to be inputs by the user. And also added exemptions, the standard deduction, taxable income, the taxes. I could call this actually taxes payable, or maybe I could use the term taxes owed, and the effective tax rate. Now I want to set this column length to be wide enough but not too wide, so I just make the white cross a black cross, double click. Notice all these column widths are wrong, so I can highlight all of this, double click all of them at once, and now we have the column width wide enough. And maybe I want to change this. This is again kind of subjective. Maybe I want to change it to there, and that still looks okay. A lot of that's going to be up to you. Now here I've done a drop down menu. I've already put in the filing status as single, married, or head of household. I'm going to put these in this gross income that you will enter. So I want that to be in this comma format with no zeros, because I'm not worried about the pennies. Just put in 100,000. I'll tell you why. When I look at this, can you tell me, is that 100,000 or 10,000 or a million? You have to look closely. This, you look at it instantly, you know that's 100,000. So that's why it's important to have the comma format there, and then you can get rid of the zeros in the decimal if you want to. Okay, so these two are inputs that the user does, so I'm going to put those in blue, and I'm going to make that bold. And the exemption, same thing, that's a user input. I'm just going to put 3. Standard deduction, all this stuff, this is all calculated, so I'm going to put that in red and bold, and I'll know as the user, I will know I can't change that standard deduction cell. I can't just type in something here. So I have 3 different standard deductions. If I'm single, $6,100, married, $12,200, and head of household, $8,950. So what I'll do is use a nested if statement equal if. So if this is equal to, in quotes, single, close quotes, then I'll use this deduction. If it's not, I have to ask the question, is this equal to, in quotes, married? And if it is, I'll use the married deduction. And if it's not, if you're not single, you're not married, you are by definition head of household, you use this one. And I just have to write decimal places, right parentheses. All these are going to be dollar amounts, so I want these all like that. And here again, I don't really care about the pennies, so I'm not going to keep up with that. Notice here I have this nested if statement. Here's one thing that can drive you crazy. So I'm going to go down to the bottom, control down, and this shows where I have single, married, and head of household. If I were to have a space, then Excel would look for a single with a blank space and not just the word single. So make sure that when you type these in, that you have typed in married and not married space. Very frustrating, but that's the way Excel is. Alright, so my taxable income is going to be equal to, and by the way, I need to give the exemption amount. The exemption amount is the same for everybody, so let me just put exemption. Where should I put that? I'll put that over here, exemption amount, and it's $3,900. It's not now, but it was. This is data from, I want to say 2014, but maybe it's 2015. 13. I think it's 2013, straight from the IRS. So my exemptions, or my total taxable income, excuse me, is my gross income minus my exemptions times 3,900 minus my standard deduction. Okay, so if I'm single, my exemption is going to be 1. If I'm married, it's going to be at least 2, it may be more. Head of household, at least 2, maybe more. So my taxable income is $90,000. So taxes owed. Let me go through this with the VLOOKUP slowly, just think about if I'm single. So if you're single, you VLOOKUP. and I type VL, VLOOKUP comes up, I can do the tab. I'll look up this number, comma, in this table, comma, and I will start out with column 3, the tax is, so column 3, comma, and I want to have an approximate match, so I'll put a 1, hit enter. 17,891. So if my income is 100,000, so it's between 87 and 183, my tax is that plus these other things. So at least I got that column right. Now notice if I put that as 0 for an exact match, it would say there's no 90,000 down here. Right? So I'm looking for the 90,000. It's not there. So that's why I do the approximate match. And the important thing there is, with the approximate match, it says, look, I'm looking for 90,000, so I find it in this column, and I see it's 87,000, something over that, so I go to the 87,000, not the 183. So make sure you get that straight. So I need to do the same thing again, plus VLOOKUP. Just tab that. I'm looking up this number again in this table. I'm looking at column number 1, 2, 3, 4 to get the percentage, and again I want an approximate match. I hit enter, and I'm going to give this some decimals just so we can see that that's going to be 28%. So I've said this plus the 28%, but it's really plus 28% of your money over that amount. So the formula is going to be this at 28% times your taxable income minus VLOOKUP again. VLOOKUP this number in this table. I gotta get that whole table. I'm looking in column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again an approximate match. Close parentheses, close them again, and that's it. That's what I would do for single. Alright, so I gotta do the check in my single. It's going to be if this is equal to single, comma, do that. If not, I gotta say, are you married? So if, open parentheses, this is equal to quotes married, comma, then I want to do the same thing almost, except I'm looking in different places. So I'm going to highlight that, Control C for copy, come to here, Control V for paste. I'm going to press this to go down so I can see all of it. See, I'm looking for the married. I'm not looking in this table B12 to F18. I'm looking in this table. That's the only difference. So really I need that to be H12 to L18, and that needs to be H12 to L18, and then if I'm not married, comma, so make sure I got this right. This is if, there's that green open. The parentheses here can get crazy, but I see the green open, so I need to have a green close for this. And I'm going to copy the same VLOOKUP stuff, all that. Try to get the right things highlighted. Control C, Control V, and now close my parentheses, hit enter. So what's going on is if single, I do this VLOOKUP. If married, I do all this VLOOKUP. And then this comma, this portion right here is what I do if I'm head of household, because if you're not single, if you're not married, you're head of household. But for head of household, I need to be looking in a different table, and that table would be this one right here, which is B24 to F30, and B24 to F30, enter. Okay, so now single, married, I have a different number, head, I have a different number, and you would want to check each one of these by hand 150,000 changes. You want to look at something low. If I put in something like $5,000, look, that says not available because my taxes are actually, that would be negative. So now we start to get into the IRS tax code and a little bit beyond what I want to do. Do something like this, max of 0, comma, all of that, and enter. Put that, because that's a not available function, we have to do that someplace else. Sorry about that. We're going to leave that off for now because, like I said, let's deal with that another time. So I'm putting in a bigger number here, 25,000. My effective tax rate is going to be the taxes owed divided by my gross income. I want that to be in percent and give me 2 decimals. Okay, so here is what I want to get to. I want to have a congressman says, look, we can do a flat tax, and that flat tax is going to be 17%. So I'm going to put some borders around that, and I'm going to put that in blue, bold. I'm going to center it. A flat tax proposal, 17%. Who does it help? Who does it hurt? So I can do a data table. Here's the effective tax rate, and I have single, married, head of household, and I can do different income ranges. Let's do 25,000, 50,000, and let me get this the format I want. 100,000. I'm gonna make this a little smaller. 150,000, 150,000, and 250,000. It's kind of arbitrarily chosen there. So I can do data table, data, what if analysis, data table. My row cell is going to be my gross income. My column cell is going to be the filing status. Click OK. All these are in percent. 2 decimals, kind of arbitrarily chosen. So what this is saying is that if you have $150,000 income, and I think I'll put a box around this, maybe that'll look good. If I have $150,000 income and I'm single, my effective tax rate is 21%. So if I went to a flat tax, I would only be paying 17%. I'm a winner. However, if I'm single making $50,000, my effective tax rate is 11%. Going to a flat tax makes me a loser at 17%. So I can highlight all of this, conditional formatting, highlight cell rows. Anything greater than this, you're a loser. That's going to be red. Okay, and anything less than this, you're a winner. That's going to be green. Okay, so I can look at this and say the winners are in green, the losers are in red. But there's a little bit of a problem with this, because anytime you do a model, you have to make some assumptions. You're leaving a few things out, and the exemption status matters here. I can't have the same number of exemptions for everybody. I mean, it's going to matter, right? Are you single, married, head? How many exemptions do you have? What about the standard deduction? What about tax credits? What about a whole lot of other things? So this isn't detailed enough to really answer the question. This is just a very simplified form, but you can see how this would be helpful. It's kind of a first pass before I do a more complicated model. And in our reasoning here, we just want to get a model up so you can see the stuff. So the warning is there's lots of the tax code that we didn't talk about, so don't think this is perfect. All right, but that's the purpose of a data table. That's the purpose of VLOOKUP. And that's really it. So there we go.